Hi, hello, welcome to another reading vlog. I don't normally use the tripod on my vlog. Like, I use the tripod. I normally hold the tripod. I have you floating. Trying to like professionalize my vlogs a bit, but I don't think it's gonna go well. Welcome to this vlog. It is a romance vlog. So if you've been paying attention on my Twitter or to my TBR, you'll have noticed I mentioned I'm going to be reading a lot of romance in February. Not exclusively romance like I'd kind of hoped, but like 99% romance. And I asked on my Twitter if anyone would like to see vlogs of this process of me reading a lot of romances. It's not really a like non-romance reader reads romance, because I do read romance, just I don't often prioritize it, so I don't read a lot of it. But I do like it when I read it, so I'm not like an anti-romance reader in the slightest. But because it's February, I'm going to take this opportunity to challenge myself to read a lot of romance. I have a big list, like over 50 books that I'm hoping to get to in February, because I do read romance really fast normally. So we're starting this vlog today. Technically it's the 31st of January today, but I'm going to start an audiobook today which will be my first read, and I thought in honor of Black History Month I'm going to start off with a black romance, or at least a romance written by a black author. I think it's a black romance on top of that, as in both of the main characters are black. So I'm going to start off with The Roommate Risk, otherwise known as Wanna by Talia Hibbert. So this is from Talia Hibbert's backlist. And I don't know much about the plot at all, but I've loved everything from Talia Hibbert I've ever read. So we're going to be reading quite a bit of Talia Hibbert in this vlog. Not necessarily this vlog, but in one of this series of vlogs, because these will be like, I think every maybe 10 or so books. I'll wrap up a vlog, start a new one, otherwise it would be way too long, but we'll see how we go. Might be weekly. I think it's a friends to lovers, that they were like off limits for each other, but they were interested in each other the whole time, I think. Yeah, so it was originally called Wanna Bet, and then it got re-promoted as The Roommate Risk. Yeah, so if you've read Wanna Bet, it's the same book. I'm going to be starting this today and obviously finishing it tomorrow, presumably. But yeah, I will check in once I've actually read it. My first physical book, I have a few things on my TBR that I have to read romance wise, so I'm not starting my first physical, and otherwise, so I'm not starting my first romance physical read today, but when I do start it, the first one I think is going to be The Charm Offensive, which I have a physical copy of. So that's what's coming up. I've got a lot of things on my list, but The Charm Offensive and The Roommate Risk are going to be my first like physical and audio pick. So I might get to a few audiobooks before I start to Charm Offensive. I'm not sure about how the timing is going to go, but that's where we're starting. I'm going to start The Roommate Risk today. Hi, I'm sweaty. I've changed clothes like 3 times. Dinner is in the oven. So I'm embarrassed because I was wrong. This isn't a black romance. Obviously Talia Hibbert is black, but the love interest is Daisy. Daisy? I'm not good at pronouncing that. And which I could have read the synopsis and probably figured that out, but I'm an idiot apparently. But our main character Jasmine is black, and Rahul is Daisy. I don't think it's specified where his family are from. I'm not sure, but I'm 69% of the way through this. Gave myself a little snort because that's where I'm stopping for the night, because I have some physical books of other stuff to read, not for this project. And now that my dinner is like in the oven, I don't need to be listening to an audiobook anymore. So 69% of the way through this, through The Roommate Risk by Talia Hibbert. Okay, it's so good. I knew it would be, because Talia Hibbert's amazing and she writes such good romance. But chef's kiss so far. This is a friends to lovers romance but like via friends with benefits. Basically the setup is that the female love interest, they're pretty evenly weighted in terms of character focus, so I don't want to say like Rahul's the love interest and Jasmine's the main character, because like that's very like, I don't know, centering just Jasmine. I don't, but I like, honestly, I think Rahul has more like in head time than Jasmine throughout this. Jasmine is a lawyer and she's very like no nonsense all through. She's like, I don't date boys, I have friends and I have people who I fuck, and that's it. And Rahul immediately is like in love with her, like pretty much like he wants to be with her, not just fuck her, but they fuck. And then she's like, oh well, I'm friends now because we're fucking. And he's like, oh no, I want to be friends though. And she's like, well, I don't fuck my friends. So he's like, all right, I guess we're not fucking anymore. And so they like become best friends forever, but he's obsessed with her the whole time, like absolutely in love with her, grows to be like fully in love with her, and she's just like my best buddy Rahul. And she's got like a lot of trust issues and stuff feeding into this, but obviously he's obsessed with her, and only wants what's best for her. He's a softie. And then there's like a it's not like an only one bed scenario, but like she ends up moving into his apartment because her apartment gets wrecked, and they end up going through a friends with benefits kind of scenario. Obviously it's a romance, we gotta get them together, and it's so good. It's so good. Obviously I'm only at 69%. I got a little bit more to go, which I will finish tomorrow. I'm having a great time. I just, so good. I was initially put off the audiobook a little because the narrator is a man, and I just wasn't expecting that for some reason. But it makes sense because we are 100% in Rahul's head way more than we're in Jasmine's. But the first few chapters are in Jasmine's perspective, and it was kind of odd until I got used to it, and then it was fine. And it's a decent audiobook once I'm like, the first few chapters were rough, but especially the like, prologue is from Jasmine's point of view as a child, and so like grown man narrating small child was strange. But then once it settled in, it's been really, really good. Oh, I forgot to say when I started this vlog that my friend Erin from Shiva and Charles, or Codabug, her and I came up with a little, she had the idea to like rate these romances on like more than one scale, and so we're going to be doing that, but I'm not going to tell you what I'm rating this on the scale yet, but at the end I will. So the scales we're going to have is obviously star rating, classic, steam factor, so like how smutty it is, cute factor, how cute the relationship is, which is independent of smut level. So it's not cutesy as in lightness, because obviously that would just be low on the steam scale, but like how cute the romance is. Dateability for all main characters, as in would I date them, which is very subjective, but like you get me. And how much I think it is on the plot scale, which is like plot what plot to this has a plot and the plot is relevant, like important. So the scale from plot what plot to plot. I feel like I'm showing my age with plot what plot, but yeah. And then at the end of this whole adventure, we're going to do a superlatives round. So you'll have to tune into all the vlogs to see that, because I'm not going to be doing that till the very, very end. But at the end of February, when I've read my final romance for the series, we'll be doing a superlatives award show. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye out. I am going to go finish dinner because I have to go stir it now. and then I'm gonna go read some stuff non-related to this vlog, but there we go. But I'll come back to you tomorrow with my final thoughts on the roommate risk. Hi, it's Tuesday. Lunch is on its way. I just finished the roommate risk. It was so good. I give it 5 stars. I loved it. I loved all the characters. I loved the plot. I loved the pacing. Let's do our little ratings we mentioned. So, star rating, 5 stars, obviously. I do think, like, I'm interested to see whether the more I read this month it might bump this down, but also it's totally a bit, like, I know it's good. Like, it's objectively good, not just like my first dive back into romance after a while. It was so good. 5 stars. Steam scale 5. This is like, I would say high heat for romance. But also cute factor was really high too. I'd say like a 4 on the cute scale. Plot level, maybe a 2.5. The plot really revolves almost exclusively around the two of them. So like a 2.5, like it's just their relationship is the plot. There's not much external plot. And plot scale is really more related around external plot. So let's say like a 2. And then dateability. Rahul is totally my kind of character. I would totally date Rahul. I don't know if I would date Jasmine, like the type of girls I like. I don't think Jasmine's quite it, but she was a very entertaining character to read from. So let's say like Rahul's a 5 on the dateability scale and Jasmine's like a maybe a 2.5. I think probably because she reminds me more of me than of someone I would date. But I'd be interested to see how this trend persists, because obviously there's a certain level of, like, in many romance that the female character is meant to be almost like your ability to self-insert for a lot of people. I'm interested to see, because I don't self-insert when I'm reading. That's not a thing I really do. But I'm interested to see, like, how many of the characters I would find dateable, the female characters, especially in male-female romances, I think would be dateable. I'm curious, because I feel like they're constructed differently than male characters in the story in many instances. So I'm curious. But Rahul, what a sweetie. What a dreamboat. Love him. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the roommate risk. What a great start. Kicking it off with a 5 stars. I loved that, like, although there was like 3rd act drama, it wasn't overly dramatic. Like, it was very to the point, and it like served a purpose and it made sense within everybody's characterization. It wasn't like unnecessary drama. Just, oh, it was so good. It was so good. And the smut was great. Let me say, I was cooking dinner, listening to it, having a great time. The next thing I'm going to be reading is The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa, and I don't know much about this one either. I've had it on my radar for quite a while. It came out a little while ago. I believe it's getting a sequel real soon, this year, and it's a wedding planner left at the altar, and I assume the bride and, or the planned bride and the best man, like the brother, are gonna get together, I would guess, but I'm not 100% sure. I've barely started. I'm like in the prologue. I'm excited. That's our next pick. We'll report back later today. I'm not going to finish it today, but we'll report back. Okay, I just had to snort out loud because I'm in chapter 1. And then it wasn't an exact quote, but it talked about how, like, it was saying like, if I split her down the center, I'd have matching halves. And all I could think was the quote from the Heathers musical. She's like, if I took an axe down the center of your skull, I'd have matching halves. That's very important. I don't know if that was an intentional reference or not, but I cackled. I just got home from a Pilates class, so please ignore my sweat. I'm about a third of the way into The Worst Best Man, which is where I'm stopping for today. Because I don't have anything else I have to listen to an audiobook with tonight. I am enjoying this. Nowhere near as much as The Roommate Risk, but one thing I like wish this talked about more or just investigated a little bit is the fact that like this whole setup, we're following Lena and Max, and Lena was engaged to Max's brother Andrew and got jilted at the altar and he ran off, and then it's like some years later, I think it's like 6 years later, she's got a successful wedding planning business. He is a marketing manager for a big company that services this hotel chain, this hotel, fancy hotel, that Lena is in the running to like get a contract with, and so they have to team up as like part of a kind of bizarre application process. Like he's working for the hotel, she wants to work for the hotel, but there's two people in contention for this position, and him and his brother are working together like with each of the two candidates, and he's working with Lena, Max. So not the brother she was engaged to, his brother. What I think is missing from this are the explorations of like how, like what their relationship was like before they got jilted, she got jilted at the altar by his brother. Like, I don't, like, why are we pretending like they have a history but like hardly one? Like they're not having to like learn things in much detail about each other, but they are, but like they don't talk like they have a shared history. And I know like technically they're like in-laws and not the people in the couple, but like she hardly even talks about her previous relationship with Andrew other than like the moment of being left at the altar. Like it's just that moment and not the whole build up of the relationship, like the time that they were together before that. And I just find it weird that both her relationship with Andrew and with Max as an in-law prior to being left at the altar is like barely mentioned. And I just would like to know more about that. I feel like it could have been interesting, but as so far 34% of the way in, it hasn't been brought up at all. So interesting. I am having a good time. I like their little enemies to lovers thing going on. It's like very low stakes. It's rivals. It's not even rivals. It's like they've just got a little bit of beef with each other, and I am enjoying it. It's fun. Hi, if this is your first time watching one of my reading vlogs, welcome to my bed location. My late night location, if you will. It is Wednesday night. I've had a busy work day today, so I haven't had a chance to do a lot of reading, but I've listened to some of The Worst Best Man. I'm not quite done. I have some thoughts. I'll talk about it more in my rating scale when we get to the end, but something I wish this book had, but it just doesn't, is an exploration of how the characters knew each other before. Have I talked about this already? I don't remember. It's really lacking, like, they should know each other, because they would have been in-laws, and there's just no mention of it, and it's, like, I mean, it's mentioned, but it's so vague, and, like, barely, like, it's like they hardly know each other. The other thing is it took, like, 2/3 of the book for them to really, like, get into each other, like, for the first sex scene, and it took me, like, at least half the book to really buy the chemistry between them. Like, it was kind of a, like, you were just meant to believe there was chemistry just because she was saying he's attractive and he was saying she was attractive, rather than like actual chemistry. I guess there is a fine line between like rivals to lovers, enemies to lovers, and actually like building that, like, that's hard to get like good chemistry while also maintaining the fact that they don't like each other. But it took so long for me to like buy the chemistry between them, which just made it a bit of a slow start. And like, that's fine. I will come back when I have final thoughts tomorrow, because I'll be finishing tomorrow. Well, I finished Worst Best Male by Mia Sosa, so our second romance book of the month. Let's just say I didn't love it. I thought it was good. I had a good time. It was fun. The things I didn't like, I liked the characters, I liked the general thing. What I thought was missing was, we talked about this, a deep exploration of like the family dynamics between their different cast members. They had a history, it was barely investigated, and that kind of like held back some of the characterization for me. The third act moment was like laughably ridiculous. It was very bizarre, and it took like 3/4 of the way, like over halfway for me to it was like halfway for me to believe the chemistry between the characters, and then that was right around the time they started like getting intimate, which is fine, but not to my preference. So on our little scale, and on my little list, because I don't quite remember them all yet off the top of my head, we have the rating. I'm giving it a 3-star. It was good. It was just not like perfect for me. Steam factor, I'm gonna say like a 4. There weren't a lot of sex scenes, but they weren't fade to black either. As a whole, there were a few like, we've done some stuff in detail and then we're not going to detail other stuff kind of thing, but as a whole they weren't fade to black, but they weren't heaps of them. I wouldn't call this an erotica, which ties into plot level. I think this is like a high plot romance in my opinion, so I'd call it like a 5 plot, 3 or 4 steam. Cute factor, like a 3.5, 4. It was cute. I just didn't quite buy the chemistry from the get-go, which is like what I wanted. And dateability, I don't know if I would date either of these main characters. Max, oh, I better go open the door. I'm coming. There you go.
If I smile too much,
would you believe me? Yeah, I don't know if I'd date either of them. Max was a little bit too up himself. Max was a little too up himself. He was fine. He was just overly confident, and maybe that kind of ties into what I was lacking from his characterization, was that like when it was just him and Lena talking to each other, I totally bought it as him being like a nice guy, and I was intrigued, but then he put on such bravado that like turned me off. Carolina I liked, but I don't think I would date her. She seemed a bit too closed off for me. When we're talking about a little dateability scale, they were good together. It just took so long for me to buy the chemistry. So I've just started, now that I finished that, The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane, and Zenny, A Marriage of Inconvenience by Rebecca Weatherspoon. So those are my 2 current reads. I will get back to you on both of them sometime soon, later today. They've ordered a strap-on and Zenny. Let's go! Alright, so my dad fell through The Charm Offensive. I'm enjoying this. I don't know what I'm gonna rate it. Obviously I'm not quite done. I'm not I'm liking it, but I have some things I don't like. First of all, like, these characters feel really juvenile. I don't know, like a bit lacking. They don't feel like adults. They feel like teenagers, even though they're like in their mid to late 20s. It's just a vibe I'm getting. Other people might not feel that vibe. The other thing is, like, this is like the most fade to black thing I've read so far. I mean, I haven't read much so far this month, but why is it like the other one I finished today, The Worst Best Man, was a similar kind of rom-com setup, but still was much more detailed than this in the sex scenes, and even just like their interactions. It's very fade to black, and it feels kind of like sanitized to a degree. It's just knowing how other people have talked, like, I haven't read enough romance to know, but knowing how people have talked about the way male relationships and sex and stuff get sanitized in romance to like cater to a female audience is, I feel like this is doing that. And it's just like, it could have been better in that front. You know what I mean? It could have been better. And I do, like, between like the characters feeling very juvenile and that, it was just like not quite right for me. Also, like, this could have had a better discussion of like how they work into sex, and instead it's just like this big obstacle without them ever discussing it. So if I don't think I said, but this is a male romance between a producer and like the equivalent of The Bachelor on a show called, what's it called, like Ever After. It's like a Prince Charming kind of thing. So this guy's the Prince Charming. He has OCD and anxiety, and is doing a kind of terrible job, and that's Charlie, and Dev is his handler, story producer on the show, and is trying to like make him perform for the cameras better, but obviously it's a romance, and yeah, but like, it's fun. I'm having fun. Obviously I've read like 250 pages this afternoon, and I'll be finishing it tomorrow, but I just wanted something like a little bit more, like, I just wanted a little bit more. It is just a little bit cheesy, a little bit sanitized for my preference. So, and very like, the other thing is like I think the OCD rep reads really well. Like, I'm personally enjoying it. I think it's well handled, in my opinion, which is not the be all to end all. Please seek out other people's opinions if you're interested about that. But I think sometimes it's a little bit heavy-handed with its like discussion of mental health overall. Like, just a little bit like in the way of like, you deserve to be loved anyway. Like, it's just a bit heavy-handed. It's fine. Just a little bit, not like, I feel a bit slapped in the face with it, like a bit too much. Like, I think that's important, but it's just a little bit too much of it. But anyway, I'm enjoying it so far. Currently 250 pages in. It's a 3-star read, but I do recommend it. Like, I understand why people love this, so there is that. Xenia, Marriage of Inconvenience by Rebecca Weatherspoon, really enjoying. This is a classic, like, obviously it's a marriage of convenience plot. Our main character Xenia, and this is like the sequel companion to Rafe, Buff My Own Nanny, if you've seen that around, which I really enjoyed as well. Xenia's aunt has just died and given her this big inheritance, like big, but in order to get it, she has to marry this Scotsman. and at least be with him for a month, like married to him for a month, to claim this inheritance. And it's their little, like, them getting to like each other after being shoved together. It's fun. Much higher heat than the Charm Offensive. And I'm having a good time with it. The audiobook narrator sounds like he is like a Siri, like he sounds like the British guy kind of TikTok voice, and so sometimes it feels really weirdly computer generated on 2x speed, just in some phrases. But so he's not my favorite narrator, but the actual book is fun, and I'm having a good time. I will probably finish both of them tomorrow, so I will update you my final ratings, including all the different scales, tomorrow. Hi, it's Friday. I just finished Zenny, A Marriage of Inconvenience by Rebecca Witherspoon. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was so good and wholesome and didn't have like a dramatic third act breakup. It was just nice and good. Let us do our little rating scales. I feel like I've talked about like the key things already because I was most of the way through this last night. So, star rating, 5 stars from me for Zenny. It was so good. Steam scale, 5. High heat, good. Cute factor, I'd say like a 4. It was cute. Very like wholesome, like lovey relationship, even though they're like, they don't know each other initially and they're like building that, but it was really cute. Plot level, I'd say this one's like a 2.53. Like, it's got a plot. The plot is a key focus, but it's not plotty in the realm of romances that I've read so far. It's not like crazy plot heavy. And dateability, for the first time in this video, we have 2 main characters that I would happily date. Very dateable. Zenny and Mason, very dateable. Both bisexual baddies. So good. So good. And they're just lovable, like whole heart out there. It was just, I loved them both. This is an absolute win for me. I still have like 100 pages to go in Charm Offensive because I haven't read that much this morning. Still only morning. The next audiobook I'm going to start is A Princess in Theory by Alyssa Cole, which I've heard good things about, but I haven't read. I've read a short novella in this series from her, but not any of the actual series. So I'm going to be reading that, starting that today at any rate. And then finishing Charm Offensive, so get excited. I also am editing my haul today, so I'm gonna do that. So I am about 20% into A Princess in Theory by Alyssa Cole. I did not expect the main character and I to have so much in common. I mean, I don't work in infectious disease, but we're both researchers working in a similar field. Like, some of my best friends, best work friends, like around my office, do exactly what Nettie, why am I blanking on her name? Naledi. That's her name, right? Naledi. I was right. I wasn't at first, but I fixed it. Yeah, like Naledi works in infectious diseases, like in a lab, but also looking at epidemiology of infectious diseases, and that's exactly what like people across the lab from me do. And yeah, like I know a lot about it, and it like so far has been really well represented in my opinion. Obviously, I don't think I said, but this whole book, the premise is that the love interest is a West African prince, and she is his like betrothed from childhood, and she's kind of gotten lost because she was in the foster system after her parents died, and so he's trying to like get in touch with her, and she thinks he's a scammer, and so then he flies to New York to try and figure out what's going on with her, and pretends to be someone else because he doesn't want to like feel like a prince, and wants to just get to know her. So it's turning into like a weird, she doesn't know who he really is scenario. So obviously there's some drama. I'm only like 20% in. They're still like getting to know each other, but I'm enjoying it so far. I am now sitting in to finish off the Charm Offensive tonight and start the XX, which is my next pick, by Erin Sterling. I will check back in with you in a bit as to what my final thoughts on this bad boy are. Yeah, so as we kind of predicted, I didn't love this. It's a 3 stars for me. There were pros and cons. So we talked about how I thought it had really good mental illness rep, which I still think it does, and I do think it also had a good exploration of asexuality. Do I think it was a good romance? It's very fade to black, which is fine. It makes sense in the context, not my preference generally in romance, but it was fun. It does give me a bit of a when it's a gay couple being sanitized. Like that's what it feels like. I know it's probably not, but like that's the vibe I get. Also, the character seemed a little bit one-dimensional, like not one-dimensional, limited in dimension. Kind of, they were caricatured a bit, and it just was not like enough for me to like really love the romance. But yeah, I thought it did some really cool things with the representation. It is kind of cheesy, especially the ending, but like it was okay. Like it's 3 stars. It wasn't bad inherently. It just was not everything I wanted it to be. That's fine. Let's do my little rating scales, shall we? So on a Steam scale, I'll call this a 1. This was pretty fade to black. Very brushed over the details on the Steam scale. On the cute factor, I'd say it was pretty cute. It obviously is a Prince Charming kind of trope. I'd give it like a 4 stars on the cute factor. Plot level, 4 stars. It's pretty plot heavy, but the plot does revolve around romance. So it's like 4 stars. And dateability, I wouldn't date either of these characters, not just because they're gay men, but also because they both had a lot of issues that like would not click with me. Especially around their ability to like have mature adult relationships. Just not what I'm looking for. That's fine. It was an interesting plot point to follow. So this is my first, like, I think, little bit of a bomb out of this list, because like I also gave The Worst Best Man 3 stars, but that felt like a better 3 stars than this, at least in my emotional connection to it. So there's that. Anyway, the XX is by Erin Sterling is gonna be my next pick, so I'll tell you tomorrow my thoughts on that. I'm barely awake. Hi. But I finished the XX last night. I kinda loved this, but like I didn't love it at the same time. I think it's gonna be a little bit forgettable for me. This is about Vivi and Reese, Vivian, and they were together in college. Briefly, he's Welsh, which I think is a big draw card for people. It was fine. And they're both magic, they're both witches, and they live in a town in South Georgia, that Southern Georgia, that has, well, like it has a witch college that's like built into the existing college, and the town's normal, but like there's an underground group of witches kind of thing. And he went to school there for a summer. They got together then, and he was betrothed to someone from childhood, which he didn't tell her about, and he leaves again after the summer to go back and sort that out, and she took it as a huge offense, kind of rightfully so, because he didn't tell her about it. He wasn't meaning it that way. Like, he was like, I gotta go sort my shit out, but she was like, you have a betrothed? It's fair. And so they split, and she cursed him by accident. Like, she was a bit drunk and she was like, fuck him, and like accidentally puts a curse on him. And then he comes back to the town 9 years later to perform a ritual ceremony thing, and the curse sets off and starts causing havoc around the town. And it's their like second chance romance, but also like solving the curse. If we go through our little scales that we've been doing, on the plot level, this was much stronger towards a plot. Was it a little bit cheesy of a plot? Yes, but it was pretty plot heavy, so I'd say like a 4 or a 5 on the plot. Steam scale, I'm gonna go like a 3. There were some sex scenes, but they weren't in any particular detail. They weren't fully fade to black, but they were kinda, they're a bit brushed over. Like, not super detailed. Definitely wasn't like here for this, like it wasn't a book that was designed to be smutty. It was on the romancy side. In regards to cute factor, I thought it was cute, but did I really buy the chemistry between them, or was I just told there was chemistry between them? That's the question I'm asking. Like, I got it, but I didn't really get it. I didn't really feel it in my chest. It was there, I didn't feel it. Whereas like the roommate risk. So like, even Zenny, I was feeling the chemistry between the characters, which I was not in this. They were just cute together. Star rating, I'm giving it a 4 overall. Dateability, I feel like these characters, which is probably part of its like flaw. I think the plot was really fun, characters were fun, but they were a bit one-dimensional. They didn't quite have enough complexities going on, and so I don't know if I'd date either. I don't feel like I know enough about either of them to want to date either of them. So we'll call dateability a bye-bye for this one. You see, I don't know. Anyway, I'm still listening to A Princess in Theory. I don't believe he got it in 3.
He didn't get it in 3. He got it in 3 because he was reading my messages to you. I got it in 3, Cara.
I don't believe that for a minute. I'm still reading A Princess in Theory. Obviously it's the weekend, it's Sunday today. Yesterday was Saturday, so I didn't listen to my audiobook that much. I did on the way to and from my work shift in the morning, but that was it. But today I'm going to be trying to finish 2 whole physical books. One is a little shorter, to be fair. The first one is A Lesson in Thorns by Sierra Simone, which I'm scared going into because this is like a fantasy erotica, and I have yet to find a fantasy romance that wasn't like contemporary based, like the XX, that I've really liked. So I'm a bit nervous about this. We'll see. The other one is Not My Type by Evie Mitchell, which is a all access novella, is the like mini series, and they're all disability romances, I believe, and the main character is a wheelchair user, and it's about, she's a sexologist and she's learning about shibari, so the knot tying stuff with the expert guy and their little like fling. I'm so excited about that one. I think I'm gonna really love that one. I'm a bit scared about Lesson in Thorns. Obviously I'm reading that first. We'll see how we go today. I do have some other things I gotta do, like film my wrap up that's like days late, and stuff like that, but we'll see how we go. Iconic. And while I'm doing some chores, I'll try and get through some more of A Princess in Theory, but it is like, I still have like 7 hours left. 7.5 hours left. I don't think I'll be finishing it today, but I'll try and make some progress on it as well and give you more of my thoughts. At the moment, they're like barely, they're like in their first forays of interacting with each other, so I feel like I don't have much to comment on yet. It's intriguing to me though. Why does this little hair always insist on doing whatever the hell it wants? Go in with the rest, please. It's not going to, but that's fine. Hi, It is Monday. My brain took a second. Just checking in with you. I'm about to start my work day and listen to a bunch of Princess and Berry. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm still, like, I didn't make much progress today. I'm still only about 40% in. But I'm hoping to finish it today. I started 2 things yesterday I ended up starting. First of all, the lighting in this room is weird today. I don't know why. Why are we getting glare? It's very, like, I'm feeling glare. I don't even know if it's coming across on the screen. I started A Lesson in Thorns. I'm almost halfway through this. Almost halfway. I'm not sure what I expected when I started this, but like, I'm having a time. Is it a good time? I'm not sure. Oh my god, why does my camera obsessively want to focus on my light? Yeah, so far I'm enjoying this. I'm not sure if I'm loving it. I was a bit scared I would absolutely head over heels love it. Don't think that's happening, but I'm not hating it. The other one I started is Not My Type by Evie Mitchell, which is a shorter novel focusing on accessibility. It's an accessibility romance. So we're following Frankie, who's a wheelchair user, and she's getting into shibari as part, like, for her podcast, because she's a sexologist who runs an accessibility in sex and relationships podcast. That hair really be living its own life. That one I'm loving. I'm about a quarter of the way through, a third of the way. It's really good so far. I'm having a blast and hoping to maybe, just maybe, finish both of those tonight. Like all 3 of the romances I'm currently in the middle of today. Maybe. I have a lot of work to do, but obviously I can listen to my audiobook while I work. So my audiobook after The Princess in Theory, which I may get to today, is Work For It by Talia Hibbert, which is one of her queer romances featuring 2 men. And I'm curious. I've heard really good things about it. It is like later in a series, but they're all companion novels, but I've heard the most good about that one. If I enjoy it, I might go back and read the other ones. So excited. Well, I finished A Princess in Theory today by Alyssa Cole. I enjoyed it. I really liked the characters. I was fascinated by like the accuracy of the science life talk. It was good. That was great. The romance was fun. The smut was good. I gave it 4 stars, and mainly because I don't think royalty romance is for me. I just didn't vibe great with it for some reason, but I think I could really like other books in the series. Just something about the whole setup just like was not my fave. So there's that. In regards to the ratings, Steam scale, I'd give it a 4. There was only a handful of scenes, but they were pretty good. Cute factor, it was like a 2.5. It wasn't particularly cute, but it was good chemistry. So like, yeah. Dateability, I don't. Now, Lydia and I are too similar, I think, to date, and I don't think I would date the prince. Thesolo? Is that how you pronounce his name? I'm checking because I don't want to get it wrong. I haven't got as far through either of the other books today as I would have hoped. I've been feeling kind of sick this afternoon and into this evening, so I've had a hard time focusing on reading. Thabiso. I don't think I would date him, but I wouldn't date a prince ever anyway. So dateability is kind of a flop on this one, but not because I didn't like the characters, just I would not date them. Plot level, this one was pretty solid on, like, it was pretty plot focused. I'd give that a 4 for plot. Yeah. I'm still like in the middle of this. I still haven't made any progress in Not My Type today. I did start work for it by Talia Hibbert, and I'm 26% into that, so like a quarter of the way through. I'm enjoying it. It was not what I expected, but I'm having a time. I'm waiting to see it kind of build, but like, it's fun so far. It's a male romance, both characters like big grumpy types, and I'm having a good time. But yes, mainly audiobook reading today, but I'm making progress. I'm gonna try and, it's like 9:30, I'm gonna try and read for like an hour solid in this and see how far I get before I fall asleep, but we're getting there. We're getting there. It's been a few days since I updated you. I think it's now Wednesday. I didn't finish anything yesterday, which is why I think I forgot to update you, but I just finished A Lesson in Thorns by Sierra Simone, and I feel like I'm going to finish more things tonight. We're getting things done. I didn't love this. The smut was good. I don't think as a whole it was, the book was that good. I'm not going to continue this series, mainly because I have no interest in an incest subplot, which is what's here, but I do like that everyone has chemistry with everyone else, but this is a very BDSM relationship, and it's just not what I was after. But like, I knew what I was getting going into this, but it's just not my thing. I don't think it's less my thing than I wanted it to be. Mainly, I couldn't deal with all the angstiness outside of the sex. Just did not work for me. This was fine. I'm gonna give it 3 stars, and on plot scale I'd give it like a 3. There's a plot, but it's really just a vehicle for these 6 people to have sex. The cute factor, it's not particularly cute, it's more like sexy, angsty. I'd give it like a 2 on the cute scale. Smart heat scale, it's a 5. It's definitely spicy. And on the date, I don't think I'd date any of these characters, so that's a flop on that front. 3 stars for A Lesson in Thorns. I've ticked it off, I've read it. Ta-da. I will also be finishing work for it tonight, and hopefully Not My Type tonight also, so I will update you more as I finish more things. So predictably I did finish both Work For It and Not My Type. Work For It was by Talia Hibbert, Not My Type it's by Evie Mitchell. That's not with the K, if I didn't make that clear. It's about rope stuff, shibari. I give both of them 4 stars. They were both really good, but very different. Work For It is super angsty, in that the characters both are very troubled and trauma-led, and they've got a lot of shit they're dealing with, and they both have very low self-esteem, and like, it's a male romance of like, both of them think they're unlovable. Honestly, a trope I can get behind. The smut was great, so on a spice scale, I would call that a 5 out of 5. I'd actually call both books a 5 out of 5, but Not My Type is very much more fun and flirty. There is like a undertone of like a self-esteem issue that runs throughout, but it's handled much lighter than Work For It. Both are super spicy. I'd say 5 for both. Both A+ on the spice. Cute factor, Work For It got real cute to the end, but is not like inherently a cutesy story. I'd say like that one's like a 3. Not My Type is like a 4.5. It's pretty cute, but also just fun. And Not My Type is like, so the premise is that the main character is a sexologist who runs a podcast about accessible everything, especially sex and stuff, and she gets a question from a listener about rope play and shibari, and the love interest teaches a class on accessible shibari, and that's how they meet. It's so good. What else? What other scales do we have? Forgetting my own scales. Spy scale, cute scale, plot scale, plot scale, plot scale. I would give work for it a like 2 on the plot scale. It's not, there's not a lot of it. Maybe not my type would be maybe a 3 on the plot scale. Neither of these are like crazy plot heavy. They're pretty good. Pretty average, like not a whole lot of plot. They were great. So overall ratings was 4 for each. And dateability. Obviously I would not date either of these guys and work for it. They're very much gay men. But I do have a little bit of a like fix-him streak. So if they weren't gay men and were bisexual men, actually, Olu's like pan, so I would maybe date Olu. I would say, was it Olu who was pan? No, maybe Olu's gay and Griff's pan. Can't remember. I remember that conversation being had. One of them is pan, or like doesn't label themselves a gay man. Dateable. Both of them, like, I have a little bit of a fix-him streak. Would date, except for the fact that I don't cross boundaries, and one of them is definitely a gay man. The other one is like mostly swings gay. Frankie and Jay, for not my type, would date both of them. Jay, fix me streak, would 100%. That would be 5. Plus like tattoos, but like rugged buff. Yeah, sign me up. And Frankie is a gem. She's a sweetheart. Dyed hair, piercings. Sign me up. I'm there for it. So yeah, very dateable, this bunch from these couple. My next reads are going to be, I think these, actually I'll probably only one more would put us to 10 books for this video, but I'm going to be like through the middle of 2. But I might finish 1 before I finish the other. How about did I just pause because we're neatly at the end of an audiobook and a physical book? Shall we just end this video here and then we can come back next week to discuss some more romances? How about that? How about you check out the next video when I post it to find out about what I'll be reading next? But I'll give you a hint. One of them will be a Katie Robert, or at least one in the next video will be a Katie Robert book. And what else will I be reading? More Talia Hibbert. And I want to read some Jack Harbin after all the drama that's been going on. Sign me up, I'm reading Jack Harbin. That'll probably happen in the next vlog. So yeah, there's some things for you to look forward to. I hope you enjoyed this little messy romance vlog. I always say I'm going to up my vlog game. It never happens. But thank you so much for joining me on this little journey. And I will see you soon in the next video. I hope you have a lovely February. Bye!